Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
Not much. Can you guys hear me okay and everything?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Cool.
yeah, it came in perfect. What's up, dude?
Great.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
it done.
Thank you.
We can finally make this work. I was so bad. My family, we all went to Myrtle Beach for Easter weekend, and my entire family decided to show up. So it was like my brother, his two little boys, my sister-in-law, my sister, her husband, my mom. Like, so it was like mayhem, and there was just no way I would have been able to like escape two little 3 and 5-year-old boys.
Yeah.
So
No,
That's
it's
totally fine. We get it.
yeah.
Totally get it.
Even the
Thank
fact
you
that you
for
were
making
like,
the time.
yeah, even the fact you were like willing to try was super cool. It's all good. We got you now, and I'm happy
yes.
and glad you enjoyed your vacation.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
But also thank you guys for having me. This is
Oh,
awesome. I love doing this kind of stuff.
Hell yeah. We appreciate that. Yeah, we're just like pretty relaxed. Not sure if you've heard of like our episodes or anything, but we don't like have structure. We just talk. There isn't like a written rule of what we do. And if you gotta leave at a certain time or whatever, like just say, hey, it's this is good. We gotta go. So we have no problem with that either.
Sorry, my cat might be a little. I have. Pardon me, 1 second. I gotta
Go
get
ahead.
my cat.
Go ahead.
She's like a little psycho. All right, thanks. We got that. All right, back.
Hell yeah.
I swear to God, every time I put on like I start like filming a TikTok or something, and she's in here, it's like she'll be dead asleep, and then as soon as I do it, it's like, oh, time to fuck up everything.
Well, Batch's dogs does that. His little dog's coming running in the room sometime.
Yeah, I got
Really?
the door. The door's locked now, but yeah, they've done it a few times.
I know she'll probably start like scratching at the door. You'll hear her smacking herself against the door to try to get in.
It's all good. It's all good.
That's all good.
Well, hey, I just want to start off by like not even like getting into like you, but like about like music and all that stuff. I just want to break the ice. So like
Yeah.
Taylor, tell me about yourself besides like the music stuff. Like, who are you? What do you like to do? Paint, draw? Like, what's up with you? Like, how's your day going? What's up?
Well, my day's good. I honestly didn't do too much today, which was amazing. But I'm from Pennsylvania originally. I'm from a super small town in like North Central PA. I maybe graduated with like 100 kids, so it was like really, really,
Holy
really small. Yeah, I was like maybe one of like 4 kids that listened to pop punk. So
Nice.
it was very interesting. But yeah, I was really into sports. I still am super active. I love working out, and I love being outside. So I do like a lot of hiking and kayaking, and I skateboard and stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of,
Damn.
the root of who I am. I hang out with my like 4 friends that I have. It's kind of just like what it is, and I work, and obviously I get to spend time with my family, which is great, but we're all kind of like old and grown now. So when I do get to do that, that's what I enjoy. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of me. I listen to a lot of emo music.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you
So-
do for work?
What's that?
What do you do for work?
So right now, thankfully, I am able to do music full time, but
hell
I've
yeah.
done like so many jobs. I was cleaning houses. I was actually like, I think this past year has been like the first year that I've been able to just like focus on music, which has been amazing, and I've gotten so much done. But usually I'm like waiting tables. I worked at a wine bar for a really long time, and I worked at Texas Roadhouse for a really long time.
Hey.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I can like, it was so funny. My boyfriend and I, we went to one, we were like road tripping back to Pittsburgh, and we were like, let's stop at a Texas Roadhouse. And they were doing like the birthday thing, like the yeehaw.
Oh no.
I was telling him, I was like, I watch this, I'm gonna be able to recite the whole thing. And I did, and it was, it was fun. But yeah, I've worked a ton of different jobs. I was working like 4 jobs at one time, and just trying to like, be able to do that and make music is really, really hard. So to be able to finally like have a breath and just focus on that for a while has been really great. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I love the I think I've been to Texas Roadhouse like twice, and I think my favorite thing is, what is it? The cinnamon
Oh, the
roll
cinnamon butter.
butter.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah, the
God.
rolls and the cinnamon butter.
To die for.
Those-
Like me and my girlfriend would go, and literally like we went there one time, and then like maybe a few weeks later we were like, I just want to get the cinnamon, but like the butter. Like I don't want to go there. Like
When we would work there, we would like grab them. I mean, we would get in trouble sometimes, but when we were slow and they had a bunch of them up there, we'd grab them, and I always used to eat them. We have like au jus. Do you know what that is?
yeah.
Okay, so we would grab like au jus or ranch and just eat those with ranch, and that would be like our dinner for the
Oh
whole
my God.
time that
Oh
we're
man.
working.
Oh.
Yeah, it was not very good for my gut, and so I'm kind
What's
of
with the
glad.
peanuts thing though? Don't you like throw the peanuts on the floor? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, I think they're kind of from what I know, they're kind of like straying away from that now though, because it's a bitch to clean up. So we would have to like sweep up all of the peanuts every night. And it
Oh
was
man.
horrible. Yeah. And I mean, I think they kind of like they have buckets on the tables now, so you can throw them on the floor, but they suggest the bucket now. So
Whose bright idea was that, making that
yeah.
happen?
I don't know. I think they're like, this is a fun, quirky thing. We'll just like have everybody throw peanuts on the floor, and then, people with like peanut allergies would come in, and
I
it's
have a
just not
funny
good.
story about that. We had never, like, a bunch of us were like, oh, we'll try that Texas Roadhouse place. We had never been
Mhm.
there. One of our buddies is deathly allergic to peanuts.
Oh
So
gosh.
we walk in and there's just peanuts everywhere. And he's like, I'm going to die here. And like immediately his throat started closing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a sign like, but it's so small. I know in like the store that I worked in, it's like a really small sign like on one of the front windows that says, if you have a peanut allergy, don't come in here. But I mean, like, it's not even big enough to be able to see it. But
No,
I
we
mean,
missed it.
well, that's good. I'm glad that your friend was able to make it out of there alive at least.
Yeah. It was cool to hit him with the EpiPen. That was awesome.
So where are you guys from? Like, are you guys from the same area or?
The two of us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but-
we are, but he lives more like north, like of Boston. So
Okay.
it sounds like he's a city guy, and I'm like
Yeah, I was gonna
a
say
South
the
Shore kid.
Boston accent.
Yeah. Yeah, when we ask
I love
people,
that.
they know he's from Boston, but they don't know I'm
Mhm.
from Boston.
Like you have it now that you say that, I can hear it like a little bit, but
Yeah.
his is definitely a lot bigger than
Oh.
yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the union worker in the city. He's your typical like Boston guy. So he's got the strong act, and
From
we both played
Boston.
hockey. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Love that.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
So where are you residing now?
I'm in Nashville now.
Nashville.
Ooh,
So-
good place to be.
Yeah, but it
Now-
is getting hot. It is about that time of the year where it just gets so ridiculously hot that I'm like staying inside for the rest of the summer.
Oh, don't
Now does
blame
does
you.
it like is it already hitting like 90s over there?
Yeah, so I think like today's probably the coolest of the week, but I think starting Monday it's like 93, 97, 98.
Oh.
It's just
That's
as soon as
crazy.
May hits, it could be like snowing in April and like the weather just be trash. And then as soon as May hits, it's like, oh, 100 degrees. There
My
you
God.
go.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I was
Mhm.
talking my buddy. I recently was just talking to his name's Cody, and he lives in Arizona, and
Mhm.
I don't know anything. I mean, I've been to Arizona, but I don't know the weather. But he was explaining to me how like he's like, dude, it's literally like imagine having a winter storm and you can't go outside. He's like, that's basically what it's
Mhm.
like here because it gets like to 115. He's like, I can't skateboard, I can't take my dog for a walk. It's brutal. I couldn't imagine doing that. That's like that'd kill me.
I went to I was in Arizona over when was it? It was like early March, I think. And it was like amazing because here it was still a little cold. It was like here and there. And the
Mm.
weather was incredible. And I was like, I can do this. But then again, you have like the summer, you forget that it gets like 110 degrees every day. So yeah, I don't think I could do that either. So I don't blame him.
Yeah. So Taylor, you are crazy big on TikTok, and I found you through my sister.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, my shout out to my sister Alicia. She's the one who was like, "Hey, this was before you dropped the first date cover. It was like a sample piece you put out, and she was like, "You
yeah.
have to check this girl out. She's like into mental health. She has killer music. You should try and get her on." And I
That's
was
what
like,
my
"Okay."
fiance said too. Because she saw the story so far cover, and she was like,
Oh,
look, this is someone you should talk to. And I was like, oh
oh,
yeah, definitely.
And bam,
your
here we
lives
are.
coming in clutch for me.
Yeah, and here we are, and it was crazy. I just started going through a rabbit hole with like all your TikToks, and then I started going on. I did like the YouTube and started listening to your music, and it's crazy to see your transition, obviously, of like country to like this like pop punk like new genre you're kind of like defining in your own way, like you say a lot, like where you're just like, oh, I'm just like doing my own thing, my own twang on it. I heard you say in some interview before, but it's just really cool to see you do that. And it's like you're bringing a whole nother like genre of people to like what you're creating, and it's really interesting. And you're also speaking up on mental health too, which is like super big, like in your lyrics. B, you post about it. And before this podcast we did an intro and I talked about your post about how you were saying like, oh, like I was losing my like interest and I was feeling lost, and then I kind of refound my like 13-year-old self and kind of built that back into my music a little bit, and it's kind of been saving me. And I just kind of wanted to start with that and kind of like get like your story and background behind that. And please, if there's anything you don't want to talk about, don't bring it up.
No, I mean, honestly, and if you would have asked me that maybe like 5 years ago, I would have been like, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's been so crazy to see the shift and the connect with people now. I was just thinking about it literally the other day. Like I it was probably about 3 years or so ago now where I was just like so unbelievably unhappy with the music that I was making. And I don't know if it was because I was like in a really dark place and trying to write about things that, somebody in the country world would relate to, and like, a lot of the songs there are like happy and party-esque, and I've never been that kind of person, and I've always gravitated towards the pop punk like emo centered music, I think because I do have like a really deep emotional connection to it because I've lived that. And my life, my family, we've been dealt some pretty shitty cards along the way, and I think that there was a lot of trauma that had never been healed. And so trying to put on a happy face in this country world, being like, oh, I'm this little blonde country girl, like, hee hee, look at me. When really deep down inside, I'm like listening to Neck Deep and like Wish You Were Here crying in my bedroom every night.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yep.
Yeah.
it was like one of those things. And I started writing. It was actually, I got signed at a publishing company here in Nashville pretty early on in my career, which was insane. And I had no idea what to even do with it because I had just been writing songs in my bedroom. And that was like, the most I knew about the music industry was I thought everybody wrote their songs and everybody put out music and everybody, like that was their truth. And
Yeah.
I knew nothing else about it. Coming from this small town, you think like, Carrie Underwood and, like stuff like that. And coming here, it was a big reality check. And I think, I noticed a lot of my insecurities from high school and my, uh, my emotions were, being tested when I got here. And I got dropped from my publishing company probably about a year or so after moving here. And that was really hard because it was like starting from scratch. I felt like, you reach this pinnacle like achievement and then you get dropped from it and you're just like, what do I do now? And I felt like it was the end of the world essentially. And that's kind of when I was like, you know what? Maybe this whole country thing really isn't even for me. Like maybe I need to start writing with different people. And that's when I met this guy, Dan Swank, who he is like the auxiliary guy for All Time Low now, which is like so incredible for him because he grew up listening, like a huge fan of theirs. And but we started writing together, and we both at that time were very much so like in depressive states, like I don't know. And then I wrote the song Therapy.
Yep.
And that was kind of like the first song where I was like, this is like me. Like, I think that this is what I need to be doing. And so right before COVID hit was when I was like, I'm going to transition to pop punk. But then, of course, COVID hit, and it was like, I was like, my career's over. Like, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to like come up from this, because it's like, you know, touring and pop punk and doing all of that and is so prevalent. Like, you have to do that. And I don't know, it was just like at that time I was like able to write so many songs about how I was feeling. And you know, we wrote like In My Head, I wrote Do That Again, I wrote all of these songs, which I was like, they're probably never ever going to come out, but now they're out. And it's amazing because there's so many people that have reached out to me that are like, I'm feeling this way. And I don't know, it's just important to me to be able to share my stories and my struggles. And I don't know, it's a weird thing.
It definitely is, but it's a good thing too, because it helps people for sure. It's definitely helping people. I mean, me and Steve kind of go through that when we're like Steve will be listening to it when he edits it, and he's like, yeah, do we really want to put that out there? And we're like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Like, it's real.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's something that, you know, in all of that, I realized is the most important thing. And the only way you're ever going to be able to connect with people is if you're honest. And as hard as it was, like, I remember when I was writing Do That Again, like, I was bawling the entire time. And I was for certain, I was like, this is a song that I'm just going to write for me, because I have to write it and I have to get it out. And I don't think it's ever going to come out. And then it did. And when it did, to see, you know, the people that, you know, really needed it, or, you know, said that they really needed it, it was like mind blowing to me, because here I am in this time where I felt so alone. And to feel, you know, to like almost be there for other people by not even being there for them. It's like, it's a very interesting way of connecting. And I don't know, and so I want to make sure that I'm able to do that for people in my music, and for it to be genuine, and to know that at least I'm helping, you know, somebody get through whatever they're going through. So
yeah, that's pop punk. That's beautiful. That's what pop punk is right there.
That's what it is.
You're like saying all that stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pop punk. That's what this is. That's what music like. And going off, Do That Again. Keeping on the same subject, like, that's my favorite song. Like that, like my notes right here, like for Do That Again, super big star, favorite song. It says just so raw, so real, expressive, mental health, and being vulnerable. And then I just wanted to say, like, off of all that, like, I'm super proud. I know you don't know me, but I'm super proud of you, because that's like super amazing. Being that vulnerable, and like also listening to yourself. I feel like it's really hard to actually take that jump and listen to ourselves. Like you were saying, you know, a couple minutes ago, how like, you know, doing country and you're like, I just don't think this is who I am anymore. And you just weren't feeling like happy, and maybe you felt complacent, and then you jumped over and you took a chance, and like, and you felt like everything was gonna shit the bed. And it's really inspiring. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, don't talk about these things, and once they do, exactly what you're saying, it's like something you need to do. It's not for anyone else until after you do what you need to do for yourself. And that's the perks of doing this type of stuff. Just like for us, we got on here a year and a half ago, and we told stories that we never thought we would even share to each other on here. With now we're sharing with thousands of people to be like, what, dude, you're saying that out loud, and it's like you're doing it in a form where, you know, people can like feel it so like personally and put their own emphasis on it. So I know I'm rambling about it, but like, yeah, that song is just like super empowering. You can feel your emotions. You can like you said, like, oh, I was like crying writing it. Like, dude, I can almost feel it listening to it. Like, oh, she's still crying. Like, so proud of you for that. That's killer, and you are helping people.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think those the vocals on that, it's the demo. So that from that whole thing, that's like from the very first day that we wrote it. So it was a very tough one to share. It was a very tough one to put out. And you know, especially with TikTok, like I am a very like, I don't want to say like I'm an introverted person, but I am. Like I do put myself out on social media, but behind the scenes I'm very like by myself, and I do have a couple friends that, you know, I trust with everything, but it's scary, you know, like when you sit with yourself and you sit in those thoughts constantly and you feel like no one else understands and no one else hears them, and then somebody else, it's not just like you telling one other person, it's like putting it out there for essentially like thousands of millions of people to listen to. And it was terrifying, I will say. But it makes me feel very good to know that there are people out there that can hear that and understand what I'm saying and understand, you know, like this is a safe place. Like I want my listeners to know that like whatever they say or whatever they do to me is going to be safe with me. I'm never going to like, you know, I never want them to feel like by reaching out and telling me something that they went through, it's going to hinder them in any way. So that's like the main thing also, is just making sure that my fans and my listeners know that this is a safe place that we can all feel and we can all be heard and seen. And yeah, I don't know. It's been incredible. And I'm still, it blows my mind even like chatting with you guys about it, because I like would have never even believed to be in this place or this spot, you know, 5 years ago. Like if you would have asked me, it's really wild. So I'm just very thankful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so cool. And like,
that's awesome.
I was on YouTube looking at like the comments on there, and I was like, what, like that's gotta be like what you were saying, like everyone like, you like it's a safe space, say what you want, I'm not gonna hint. Like I was reading the comments and people were like, you know, this is saving me, it's getting me through a hard time, literally saved my life. And I'm just like, wow, like that's the power that like what you're doing has, the effect it has. And like, yeah, I know, like you can't even grasp it. Like
I genuinely, it's insane to me, and I'm like sweating, like thinking about
sorry.
Like knowing that, you know, people like knowing that my feelings and my truth is out there for literally anybody to pick apart. And the sad thing is there are people out there that will kind of like, you know, try to demean somebody who's going through something. And I will see that occasionally on other people's comments and stuff. And that hurts me. But other than that, like it's been an incredible, you know, place to be. And the fans and the people that are a part of it are just incredible. And it makes me feel so good knowing that they're confident enough in sharing their story after hearing mine. And them even too, like someone might be scrolling through the comments and see something that they wrote and resonate with that so much, and then they comment and they become friends. And that's been amazing too, is like, you know, you might feel so alone in something, and then it's just to see them communicating on that level and caring about one another, like that's really cool to me. I'm like, I don't care if you don't care about me, as long as you guys care about each other. And like I look out for one another. And yeah, it's amazing. So
that's crazy. Well, yeah, you're a great person for that. You definitely pop punk as fuck now. So there you go. Well, you always have been, but yeah.
I tried to be.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Batch, you got anything you want to jump on? I don't want to talk too much.
No, it's all good, man. It's just my stuff's kind of like going back to like the beginning. Like when did you start like thinking like or start wanting the music to be like your career, and like who got you started with that? Like when did you like fall in love with music, basically?
Honestly, when I heard A Lesson in Romantics for the
Yeah.
first time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was always like really in love with the idea of performing, but I was an extremely shy. Like when I tell you I was an introverted person now, I was like beyond introverted back when I was like a child up and through high school. And music was like the one thing that I just, of all things, I just gravitated towards it. And whether that's like listening to it or playing it, I can't even tell you how many times I like lock myself in my bedroom and like sit in my room for hours and just like listen to, I think at the time it was like one of those boom boxes where you can like plug in your what is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, what is it called? Why
iPod.
can't iPod. I was gonna say iPhone. God. Like, plug in your iPod at the top and like it plays music. It's like the speakers and stuff. And I was like going through thank God I had an older brother that was 6 years older than me who showed me what LimeWire was. But I
Yes.
would go through and I would like burn CDs and stuff like that. And then started with that. And then I would I found like an MP3 converter that I could like convert the songs onto my iPod. So I would do that. And I found the A Lesson in Romantics, like I just stumbled upon it, like the whole album. I think the first song was like when you get home you're so dead, or when I get home you're so dead. And so that was like the first song, and then Miserable at Best. And then I found their EP, their earlier one with like it was like Tales Told by Dead Friends or whatever. And I listened
so
to
good.
Like One Man Drinking Games. I can't even tell you like all the times I'd be like driving in my mom's car, like pretending I was in like a music video for that song. And yeah, I mean like I gravitated towards that so much. And at the time, I didn't really know. I was like 13 or 14 and didn't really know anything about, music other than singing it. And I would just sing and sing and sing and sing and sing. And then I made friends with this girl in high school, early high school, and she could play guitar. And so I asked her, I was like, do you want to be in a band with me? And so her and I, we like started recording songs on like GarageBand. We would do like covers and stuff. I remember we did like 6 months by Hey Monday. We did like like a bunch of stuff by Katie Groves and stuff like that. And so that was kind of how I started like making music. And her and I would do like little talent shows and stuff at school. And we would go around and there would be like local talent shows at like where I lived. There was a university that was like 15 minutes away. And sometimes they'd have like little talent shows and stuff over there. So we would go and do that. And we called ourselves Tay and Kel. And we would just, that was kind of the thing. And one day I was like, I really want to learn how to play guitar. I think it was like 16. And I asked her, I was like, give me your guitar for a week. If I don't know how to play it by the end of this week, I'm never going to try to play, and you can play for me for the rest of forever, but I just like really want to learn. And I would sit in the basement and I would just play like everything. I Mayday Parade, All Time Low, The Main, like all of those bands. And then even at that time, I was like really, really into like Stone Sour and stuff like that.
Oh my God, that is a throwback.
Wow. So like Through the Glass, I listened, like Vertical Horizon, bands like that. And I would like learn all of those songs too, or like try to. Wow. And I learned how to play. I was terrible, but when I started doing like little covers, I would prop my iPhone up and just tape myself playing, and or like my sister would like come behind me and I'd be like, I'm gonna act like I'm not paying attention. I don't know you're here, but like just film me.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Like that. And that's kind of how I got into music. But, you know, coming from such a small town, I think the logistics of it, and people going to college and, you know, having kids and doing that whole thing is like gets imprinted into your brain. So you don't think that like, oh, you can actually do something outside of all of this, like outside of having to like get a 9 to 5 job and stuff like that. And so for a really long time, I just did it for fun, and I would write for fun. And one day, I think it was like my sophomore year of college, I was just like, I really don't like school.
Yeah.
And so I called my mom and I was like, can I just come home? And she was like, well, I mean, I don't really want you to do that because we just spent all of this money for you to go to school. But I guess if you're not happy there, and like, of course, my grades weren't the best because all I wanted to do was just sit and play music. And I never really wanted to go to class. And I was also an athlete at the time too. So it was like I would go to practice and then come back and play music and not do my schoolwork, which was very detrimental to my athletic career at that time too.
Oh my God.
So,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, it was like, I mean, I knew in my heart and soul that like I really wanted to play music, and that was what I wanted to at least try to do. And I moved back home with my mom, and she had moved to like a completely different state, completely new city, and I didn't know anybody. And I would just try to go around and play at like little venues and stuff. I'd play like 3-hour sets of just like cover songs and random songs that I would just write. And one day, my actually manager now reached out to me on YouTube, and he was like, hey, I'm going to school for music business. I think that we can really make it in Nashville. And I don't know, like I had like played country music like every now and again, but I think people just thought that because of my tone, I was country. And because of my name, like Taylor Acorn is a very like country-esque name.
Definitely.
And so, yeah. And so he was like, I think we can really make a like a country career out of this. He grew up in the pop punk scene though too, and so we both were kind of just like, after a while of doing the country thing, when it did start to do well, we were both just like, this isn't it. Like this isn't what I want to do. This isn't what you want to do. Like, and like, so it's really cool to see both of us like from where we grew up. And he did like a lot of like merch selling and stuff for different bands that would come through his town in Missouri that he lived in. And like when he was in college, I guess at his university, there would be a lot of bands that would come through there too. And he would just sell merch and do stuff like that. So he was very like prevalent in the punk scene as well. So it was like kind of cool that we met each other, and we were both just like, this is probably what we should be doing instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, that was definitely meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very like, I don't know. It was kind of cool how it all worked out, and I'm here now, which is neat, but finally able to make the music that I love and I enjoy. That took me a few years to get there.
It's all right, as long as you got there. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I think you're probably one of the first people that's like said All Time Low and Mayday Parade were like there. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Most of the people say like, you know, the typical, like, you know, Green Day, Blink, like those guys, but like that was such a cool era of pop punk that like mid 2000s, like 2004 to like 2010 was just like so crazy. Like,
I mean, even
when I was in high school, that's what it was. It was All Time Low, Mayday Parade, The Main,
like This Providence, The Used, like stuff like that, which is My Chem. So it's just, yeah, it makes me happy to also see all of those bands. Like, I know there are like, you have Blink and you have, you know, like Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy, but to see like those bands coming to the forefront has been really amazing too, because it's like people who may have not listened to bands like Neck Deep or The Story So Far, or, you know, like All Time Low, Mayday Parade, people that have been, or bands that have been very consistent in that scene, but were kind of like pinned as uncool to listen to back in the day. They're getting the recognition that they deserve. I was like, it makes me so happy. And so, I mean, that was like the stuff that I listened to, like The Used. I listened to Acceptance. I don't know if you guys listen to them at all, but
that one I've heard.
We listen to them. They have their song "So Contagious" is like one of my favorite songs ever. So listen to them, and I listen to bands like. Did you guys like listen to Circa Survive or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you know, like Anthony and all of that. Yeah, I listened to a lot of that as well.
Because like when we were growing up, it was like Transit was big. A Loss for Words was like, because that's where we're from, is where like Transit's from, Mass, and A Loss for Words. So we were always at like those shows with like, I was at one with, it was like right when The Story So Far made that, they made that split with Maker. And they went on tour with Hit the Lights and A Loss for Words. And like, I went to the Boston show, and it was like the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is the best. Like, I love this.
And there's just like nothing like the energy of a show like that. And
to
me, I think that was one of the biggest, like, sorry to the country gods because I'm here in Nashville, but like that was a huge turnoff for me in the country space, is that you know, instead of people sitting and listening to your set, they were going to get a beer. Or they're, you know, like not really paying attention. And it just like, to
it's
me,
all about
you know,
the party.
Yeah, to me, growing up and going to Warped Tour and going to shows like that, and like I went to school right outside of Philly, so we would go to a lot of shows like in downtown Philly and stuff like that. I remember going to like Crown the Empire. It was like Crown the Empire and like Issues, like all of those. Yeah, it was amazing. Oh, I think it was Crown the Empire, We Came as Romans, and then Issues.
Oh,
was
sweet
like,
Jesus!
Wow. Okay.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And I just like going to shows like that, and like A Day to Remember and Mayday Parade, like seeing the connectivity that they have with their fans, like is incredible. And like no one has their hands full of beer. Like, I mean, maybe one or two, but they need their hands to be able to hold people up. And that's like something that's so fucking cool to me. Sorry if I.
No, you can please.
More from Boston. Come on.
I was gonna say, I was like, sorry if I can't swear, but that is like something that is so incredible to me. I remember going to see Paramore and watching Hayley Williams. I'll never forget. It was like Warped Tour after Riot had just came out.
Oh God.
And like it was like people were starting to know who they were, and I remember like their music video was like all over MTV, where she had her like super hair and her bangs that like stuck out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I remember like watching them play, and it was just incredible. I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And to have that energy from their fans and the connectivity of everyone. Like you look to your right and you might see somebody who's a jock. You look to your left and you see somebody who might be super seen. And then like you just look around and there's so many different like demographics of people all in this one space that love the same thing. And it's just incredible to me. And that's like what I've always wanted. And I know like in the country space, it was, you know, it was very much so of one thing. And
it's like very cookie cutter. Like you sing about this, you talk about this, and this is what works.
Yeah. And so for me, I always felt just like a little bit just outside of everything. And, you know, people would come up to me after and be like, yeah, you're really good. Like that was really great. But now it's so different. It's like, you know, people will come up and be like, that song got me through this, or you know what I mean? And granted, I haven't been able to really tour that much in this scene yet, but I mean, I'll go to show, like it's what has been really crazy is I went to a Mayday show out in Pittsburgh at Stage AE, and we just like went just for fun, and people were like recognizing me, and I was like, this is weird.
This is so cool.
And you know, just like coming up and like talking to me about my songs, and that's something that I never had in country. I mean, there would be people like here and there that would like really love my stuff, but it was never on the level that it is now. And it's like, just incredible, but also like overwhelming.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
I feel like this scene dissects music so differently. Like just
It does.
like
It
everything
does.
is so personal. Whether it's the way you perform, what you talk about, it's just exactly
Like
that.
me and you do that. Like when we come on here and we're like breaking an album down, like
Oh my god, yeah.
we talked about like Neck Deep's new record, and
well, yeah.
I was like, no, don't like it. This isn't it. And like Steve's like, well, actually, it's not that bad. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a sucker for Neck Deep's like older stuff. So
Oh yeah.
sometimes
Oh,
it's
come on.
like
Yeah.
harder for me to like I think that's the thing is like I'm so into like I have my bio as like I'm stuck in my 2007 like emo phase, but like I really am. Like I always gravitate towards the older stuff and I find it so hard to listen to new stuff, but I've been trying to kind of like break out of that
Yeah.
cycle and that
Yeah.
habit of like, kind of like what you said. It's like, oh, I can't like this now because they're not who they used to be, but they are. It's just different, and music is evolving, and now genres are a little bit blurred. You don't really have anything. I know you were saying you're like I'm kind of doing like the mix of like the country thing and the kind of making my own genre, and I think that that's what's so incredible about so many artists now is that they can kind of do whatever.
Yeah.
And
You're seeing that a lot.
yeah.
You see it a lot with
But,
like Belmont. I think
Yeah,
Belmont's taking
Belmont.
it to a whole nother level. Like with like the
yeah.
easy core and like the hip hop mix that they throw in,
Mhm.
and they're just I love Belmont so much.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like it's so cool to see. I love being able to be a musician in this time too. But a part of me is like I also very much so wish I could have been there when all of like all of those bands were coming up like playing Warped Tour.
Yeah, I
Oh
know.
yeah, right.
Those are
I
some
wish.
crazy Warped Tours. Oh
Some
my
things you just
god.
never know till later.
I know,
For
right?
real.
Like
Wild.
a bunch of these bands like me and Batch break down now. We'll talk about it and we'll be like, yeah, I remember watching them for like 10 minutes, like their first Warped Tour ever. Knew no idea who they were. And then now look how big they are and how amazing they just became.
Like Knuckle Puck's the perfect example of
Yep.
that.
Yes.
Like I
I
used
don't
to see
hear anybody really like I haven't heard anybody like ask me of any or to do any covers of theirs, which has been like really surprising.
Oh, you
Let's
definitely
go,
should.
Taylor. Come
Yeah,
on.
for sure.
Let's go.
Yeah. Some
No,
Knuckle
I'm like,
Pucks, some real friends.
oh yeah,
Real friends would be great. Like I saw them like before they were even like they opened for Mayday Parade. I went and saw I think it was I forget who else was with them. It might have been like Breathe Carolina or something strange. And like Real Friends, like I saw the whole Real Friends set and I was like, holy shit, like these guys fucking rule.
They're
And
so
like
good.
they were unbelievable. Like I went over to like try and because it was like the openers like hang out at their own merch table and sell their own merch. And like I went to go to talk to them, but like never got the chance because it was so like everyone was just blown away. They're like, these guys are sick. But
yeah, I could see you should do like No Good by Knuckle Puck. That would be a sick cover because your covers are fucking so sick.
I'm trying to think of, thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, and that's crazy too, because you were saying about like how Belmont is evolving, and I feel like the same way about Real Friends. It's like, you know, they started with like I've given up on you and like that kind of vibe, and now that they're kind of like transforming into something completely different, and now they have a new like frontman, which is it's cool because like you know seeing them back then and then now seeing them, it's like almost it's like a different energy, but it's still really dope. And so I don't know, I'm really excited to see like what all they do. And I really their song Storyteller, I don't know if you guys have listened.
So good.
Oh yeah.
Teeth is unbelievable. You should cover Teeth.
Yeah.
You should cover Teeth. Teeth is awesome.
Yeah, I love that song. But Storyteller, I remember hearing that and just being like so blown away. I was like, this is really sick.
Because so you must have gone to that 10th anniversary tour then, because I went when they came here. And we know the singer from the new singer because he was in a band called Youth Fountain. I don't know if you ever heard of Youth Fountain. He was the singer, one of the singers in Youth Fountain. And I talked to him for a few minutes afterward, and I was like, "Oh, like I've followed you since Youth Fountain and blah blah blah." And he was like, "Holy fuck!" He's like, "You're the first person who's mentioned Youth Fountain." Like, and I was like, "Yeah, man, Youth Fountain was fucking killer." Like, but the Youth Fountain's still a thing, but he's just in Real Friends now.
He's in Real Friends now.
Yeah,
which is like amazing for him. Like, I think that's so sick.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, for them too, and especially now, it's like they are able to do something that is like almost really new for them because
it's like
of
they're
that.
a new band. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so
like
cool.
they're a whole new band. So they have like the ability to win over not only their old fans, but their new fans too. And he did such a good job, I thought. His energy was good.
Yeah, he's good.
Cool. I do. I love me some Real Friends, I will say.
Yeah, because they were like almost like a Midwest emo band when they like first started.
When they first came out. Yeah.
And then like I think it was like the second album, they were like, "No, we're just gonna do this pop punk thing and we're gonna crush it with that."
Right?
Yeah. I love that. But yeah.
Nice. So, Batch, you got other things?
Well, we pretty much covered, like, I'm assuming, like, Mayday Parade, All Time Low, like, your big inspirations. Like,
yeah.
Because we say it all the time that, like, I think Derek Sanders is the best singer in pop punk.
Down.
Like, I don't think there's a better one than him.
And there's just something, am obsessed with Mayday Parade. I truly am. And it's so funny because I have been blessed. I got to work with Zach and Ken, their producers, for a little a little weekend. We got together and we got to work, and through that I was able to kind of make a connection with Jake, their drummer, and we've kind of like established like this really awesome friendship, and he's like the best. And when he was in town for the 10th anniversary tour, I got to write with him, and
oh my God,
we had been like planning this for forever, and he was somebody that I would like send songs to, and I was like, what do you think of this? Like it was really amazing. And so to me it's like I still am like kind of shocked that that's even a thing, because I am such a huge Mayday Parade fan. Like and their music has just gotten me through so much. And there's like just so many instances that I can just remember being in my car and like just like crying to their music, and like hearing him sing that, like the lyrics live too, is it's amazing, because he sounds, like you said, like exactly like he does in the recorded version. And it's almost even better. And like their live show is incredible, and the energy, like I don't know, it's amazing. And there's one thing that I always say, it's like, if I could be like a female Mayday Parade mixed with like a little bit of Paramore and Avril Lavigne, I will be happy.
Like, yes, I mean,
you're only
those are some pretty good people to be.
You're pretty close. Man. When I did the intro to this podcast, I was
That's exactly what he said.
I was like, if you like Haley Williams and Avril Lavigne, I was like, then go listen to Taylor Acorn, because that shit's great.
There was one, there is this guy who does he does like TikTok videos where he does he like showcases new like pop punk songs and stuff like that. And
dope.
He did one of mine In My Head, and he said, if you like Avril Lavigne mixed with Mayday Parade, and I was like, oh my God, like that's the best compliment ever.
It's happening. I was
freaking out. Literally, I was freaking out. But
that's so
cool.
I
will say though, I do miss, and I don't know, I might just be biased because their first album was just like, it stays in my heart forever and ever, and I love it. But Jason Lancaster's voice, I will say.
Oh yeah.
The mix of their voices together.
And Jamie all over. Oh my God. Like you
Pure
can't.
harmony. Gosh, I like their song titles are so long, so I can never remember. So if you wanted a song written about you, all you had to do is ask. That song.
Yes.
That's
so
my
good.
favorite song off that record, and that one, and like You Be the Anchor. And hearing like their dual vocals when they get into the bridge where he's like, you dropped a note and we changed keys.
Oh my God, yes, I
I
know.
like cry.
So
I cry.
good.
It's so good. I love it. But Derek Sanders is incredible.
I was lucky enough to see them right. I think it was when they went on tour with All Time Low. It was them and All Time Low in like 2009. And they had both singers. It was before Lesson in Romantics came out.
Damn.
And like people still like they like knew them but didn't know them. And they came out and they just like blew All Time Low out of the water. Like it was like they were like, here we are. Like, it was like, so good.
It's crazy. And like the emotion, I mean, even still, like they're one of those bands that I feel like they've stood the test of time as far as like the pop punk scene goes. And even still, like, when Jason did leave the band, like Derek was able to do it, and it still made a parade, and it was still fucking amazing. Like their self-titled album, like seeing that all come to life in this anniversary, because you said you went, right? So you got to see like, all of the.
I saw it was the Lesson in Romantics one that I went to, because they played two shows here, and they did. I think they did the self-titled the night before, and then it was the last night of the tour, and they did a Lesson in Romantics like all the way through, and it was just like I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
So good. It's so good. I didn't get a chance to go see the Lesson in Romantics one, but I did get to go to the
self-titled's right there with it. Self-titled's awesome.
When oh well.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
His voice in Oh Well is like
Tim, I think my favorite one that they played though is When You See My Friends.
Oh my God, that's so
start
good.
Like the that guitar part, I like every time I hear it, it's just like it stops me in my tracks. I'm like, this is creamy pop. It's amazing.
That's how we are with the stories so far. Like you give us something from that, and we're like, "Oh, this is it. This is it. It's happening."
It's pretty rough. Well, not in a bad way. We go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, like
I do love them too. They were just in Nashville, and for some reason I didn't know that they were coming, and I was so sad that I missed it, because they're one of those bands that I haven't seen in like so long, and so I've been really wanting to see them.
It's a different vibe now with them. Like he's not as like not as crazy. Like he just kind of like stands there with his hands behind his back and like, but like we actually like we went to. Have you heard of Side Project? No Pressure.
Like hardcore.
I don't think so.
It's more like punk, like hardcore punk stuff. And they played at a little tiny place up in Boston, and we went and like didn't even have like any intentions of like seeing him or meeting him or anything. Figured he would just hide in the back. And our other buddy came around the corner from buying merch, and he's like, "Boys, he's over there." And we were like, "What?" And like we went over and like talked to him for like 10-15 minutes, and then like he was like, "Yeah, come find me afterward. We'll talk." And like we went and saw him afterward, and like it was just like the most incredible conversation I think we've ever had with someone.
Like, it was just like talking to anybody. It was just like a friend. It was like the craziest moment of our lives, and it was like he like no one else was at the concert at the end. Everyone was gone. It was just me, Clarky, Batch, and then Parker Cannon, and we just talked. Yep. And he just talked, and he shot the shit with us, and he was like, "This is what I love to do, like connecting. Like, what is there, like 200 people here tops? That's it. Like, I love the story so far, boys, but like, this is what it's all about, the interaction." He's like, "I'm watching the other band standing here. I can't do that with the story so far." Like, it was just so real.
And it was like, it was the weirdest thing. Like, you can probably relate to this when like he told us, he's like, "It's so weird when people come up to me and they're like, 'Oh, are you Parker Cannon?'" And he's like, "That's my full name. Like, that's weird." Like,
like I think that's like something that I appreciate and admire so much about the pop punk community is the guys are just so cool. Like they're so genuine. They like what you see is what you get. And I love that. Like that's something that I mean is I don't know, something that I've always gravitated towards, like with the artists that I listen to and bands that I listen to. And so to like hear something like that, it makes me feel so good, because it's like surrounded by people that like think like me and, you know, want to be involved. And, you know, I don't know. It's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It's like, you're welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Of course. Next time I'm in Boston, you guys have to come out.
Oh, we will.
So
Not even a question. We'll be there.
For
That's
sure.
definitely gonna
Absolutely.
happen.
yes.
I gotta ask though, you're doing all these covers, right? Has any of those bands reached out to you to be like, holy fuck, this is amazing?
Yes. And that's been like really crazy. And I will say the craziest one was pretty recently. So Chuck from well, I will say I did the Blink-182 cover, and the very first time I posted that, before the second time that I did it, and it just went like I don't even look at it anymore, because I'm like, I will look at it and it gives me anxiety. Like the comments and people are just like, the first time I posted it, it went over so well. And people were like, this is fucking dope. And like the second time it was like, then the gatekeepers came out.
Oh no. God,
I have never experienced this before, and this is not
Taylor,
good.
No.
I know. I was I was texting my manager. I'm like, I'm quitting. This is awful. I can't do this. These people are being, and then I just had to like remind myself, like, I should have known it was gonna happen, you know? And of course, like a band like Blink-182, because they are so big and so many people have listened to their music since like the 1990 or whatever. Yeah, they came out. Like, it's so crazy. And people took it like one way that it was not supposed to be taken. But Mark Hoppus
reposted
it.
Fuck out of here, Taylor.
Oh my God, that's so sick.
This is the craziest thing. And I remember I was like in a write, and one of my friends had messaged me, and they're like, did you see Mark Hoppus' story? And I was like, no, what? And then like I watched it, and he had like reposted my reel that I had put up on Instagram. And I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, like hyperventilating.
It's happening. It's happening.
Like, oh, this is crazy. And then but there's been like a lot of really cool people that I've gotten to meet. Like of course, like the Mayday guys, they've, you know, reached out, and I think they even did like a reaction. I know Vic from Pierce the Veil, which is like another one of my all-time favorite bands. Like he had reposted a cover that I did, and it was Bulletproof, and he had like reposted that. And I'm trying to think who else was it? Oh, the lead singer of Bowling for Soup had reached out to me when I did the Almost, which is like really sick, because I've been a fan of theirs for many, many years. Yeah. And the guys from Simple Plan also, which
they're good. They're so good, dudes. Dudes from Simple Plan.
Dude, and I mean, Chuck, he's been like so nice to me, like comments on everything now. And like Pierre, he's been commenting on stuff too, which is like really amazing. Wow. And so it's just like, I don't know, it's just crazy to think that like I used to watch these guys on like MTV and listen to them, and like I can literally recite to you the Girl All the Bad Guys Want, like that music video. I can like recite it. I can literally see the girl standing there with like looking into the TV, and like Bowling for Soup is playing, and then, you know what I mean?
That's
it's so like
dope.
Oh yeah. Little spoiler for you, a little inside info. We're working on getting him on the podcast soon.
No way. Well, if you do, tell him I say hello.
We definitely will. And it's like me and Steve, when we like, we've messaged him on Instagram, and like when it first happened, we were like, this guy's a fucking legend. And we're like talking to him, like,
because he commented on one of our, we made a post that was just like, who should we break down next? And we posted like Bowling for Soup, Paramore, blah blah blah, and he was like, "How about Bowling for Soup?" And we were like, "How does he even know about our podcast?" And then we immediately hit him up like, "Come on!" And he's like, "Hey, I'm free in May sometime, so let's try and like make that work." And we were like, "What? No way!"
Yeah, it's just like it's like the same feeling when like we interviewed Maddie from A Loss for Words, and it was like this guy's like a fucking legend. Like, it's just wild.
Crazy. I think another really crazy one that was like there are some bands that I get really nervous to even like touch. And because I just know, like, being a fan of them, I just know that there are going to be people that are going to be like, no, this sucks, don't touch it, you're ruining it.
You know what, fuck them. Just do what you want.
Oh my gosh, I did Diary of Jane by Breaking Benjamin, and I'm a huge Breaking Benjamin. I love the dad rock, okay? I do. 3 Days Grace. I love it. Nickelback, I do love it. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
that's all right.
You know, bands like that, like Smashing Pumpkins and like, you know, bands like that. I love like the dad rock. And so it is fun for me to kind of tap into that, even though it might not necessarily be like emo, but people will get like really upset about those covers. But I did a cover of Scars by Papa Roach, and he was another one who
commented
and like acknowledged it, and I was like, this is so cool. Like because I just remember like sitting in the car like listening to them on the radio and stuff. And just I don't know. It's really neat. It's weird. It's a weird place. TikTok is weird. It's amazing, but it's also a very weird place.
Yeah, we have a TikTok, but like we don't like know how to use it at all.
I'm like mediocre at best.
It's like it's like crazy because it's like such a big tool like that, and Instagram are like, because that's how me and Steve both found you, was from TikTok and Instagram. And it's like, I feel like a lot of like bands like Magnolia Park and stuff, like that's how they got through the pandemic, was TikTok, because everyone was just on their phone doing TikToks. And it's like, we've sat there and talked about like doing TikToks, and it's like, yo, this is a lot of work.
I tried for a good solid few. I had posts going every day, and then just got a lot with working and podcasts, and I was like, bro, like I haven't done one in like maybe a month. It's just like so much to keep up with. I can't edit for shit. I don't know what I'm doing.
And honestly, it's like you said, it is a full-time job, I will say. And a lot of artists, like, I don't blame them for not wanting to do it, or like people feeling like, oh, this is just too much. But it is such a good tool, like as far as getting your music out there. Like for you guys, like you guys could like do something like this, or it's like, oh, I'm like talking with this person and like check out our podcast kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
You do something like that. But yeah, I don't blame you at all. Like sometimes I'll know that I have to do a TikTok and I'm just like, I really don't. I don't want to put myself through this today.
Yeah, we had Olive, the TikTok punk girl. Do you know who that is? She's like super big on pop punk. She's like a TikToker.
Does she do like does she? I don't know. I might have.
She has blonde hair, puts like freckles on her eyes, and then like puts random
tats.
Random.
Yeah. See, I'm like bad. I'll go on TikTok and I'll post mine, and then I'll get the heck off.
Well, I only brought her up because she was explaining the whole thing to me, and like how she quit her job to do it, and she was like, yeah, it's a full. People think I'm just waking up, quick video, go back to bed, and the whole day. She's like, it's not that.
No, it is hard, and especially too if like the algorithm is very finicky. So if you go for like a few days without posting one, I think people have like the idea where you have to post like 10 a day for one to pop off, which I don't really necessarily think is true. I think if you have something that is like attention grabbing, it's probably going to do well. But I think just staying consistent, like posting one a day or posting like every other day or something, kind of like YouTube, I guess, would be. It's like the algorithm, if you're not keeping up with it, it's going to kind of boot you out and push something to the forefront that, is maybe doing something different.
Yeah.
So like, I thought that that's what was so crazy about my Blink 182 cover is like, I had posted that, like just the chorus when I had first started doing TikToks, and it did okay, but like the second time I posted it, maybe with just like a different intro, it just like went off so crazy. And I was like, I literally didn't do anything really different, but now it's like,
Yeah.
And it's just like, it is very tedious, and it is a lot to kind of have to do every day, especially when you have like so many other things to do, especially when the weather is getting nice and stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the last thing you want to do is like sit in front of a ring light and be like, I'm TikToking. But it is a very good tool, and I love the community of people that come to my videos. I think that that's been like crazy. So it is, as it is a very difficult thing to keep up with, it is a really amazing tool. So I'm very thankful for it.
Hell yeah.
Gods have been on my side, thankfully.
Love it.
That's all right. So like, who are some of your like favorite like new bands in the scene that like you're really into?
Somebody that like has really stood out to me, I think she's so dope, is Charlotte Sands. I've
heard of her.
Yeah, I love her stuff right now. The Arrows and Action Boys, like,
oh yeah.
I don't know if you've listened to any of their stuff, but they're so good. The Home Team is another band that I
love the Home Team.
These are all like my fiance like talks about these bands all the time, and I'm just like, it's in one ear and out the other. I'm just like, yep, okay.
Well, the Home Team sounds just like Panic at the Disco, right? That's that band. Yeah. We brought them up before, Batch.
Yeah, we have. Yes.
Yeah, they're super sick. Magnolia Park is another band that I've been like, just like, it's been so cool to watch their journey. And like, I don't know, there's so many bands. There's another band, 408, that I've connected with, and they're like, they sound like Blink 182. It's like crazy.
Okay, I'll write that down.
I'm trying to think, like, but I also like bands that are kind of outside of the scene, like the band Camino. I don't know if you guys ever like listened to them.
My buddy loves the band Camino.
Yeah, I really like them also. But I mean, a lot of the bands that I listen to on a daily are bands that I've listened to since I was like 14.
Yeah, that's how I am.
I'm like a creature of habit. Like, I don't really like jump out too much, but there are a couple that I really like In Her Own Words is a really good band. And God, there's another one that I listen to them a lot. And then I'm trying to think, there's another band that I was like, oh wow, they're so dope. And they sound like just like Sleeping with Sirens. Like, he has
Ossetia.
I think so. Is that?
Yeah.
I think
Ossetia. Yeah. Yes. Yep.
He sounds just like Kellen Quinn, and I'm like, oh my, it's insane. But my boyfriend is like big in the scene too, so like he shows me a lot of bands. There's this band called With the Punches.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Sounds familiar.
But they're like, they were around like a while ago, but I think they might be coming back. And
I think they just signed with like Mutant League. I'm pretty sure.
So we've been like, I listen to them a lot, and I don't really know, like the bands, I mean, I would say like the TikTok bands are probably the bands that have been like the newer ones that have been kind of popping up that I know of, that I really enjoy. And yeah, Charlotte is super dope. But as far as that goes, I'm a creature of habit. I'm also like
it takes a lot for
that
like
young, so I still listen to like all of my old bands, and I don't really pay attention to a lot of the new stuff, unfortunately. But
like, that's how we are. Like, I don't know, like Steve will mention a band, or like I'll mention a band, and I can just tell that it's like not, He's like, yeah, I'll listen to it. And then like a month later, I'll be like, do you listen to that? And he's like, nah. Like just like flat. He's like, no. Like him and my fiance have been all over me about driveways. And like,
oh my God, yeah.
I like listen to driveways and I'm just like, I know they exist. They're cool. But I'm just like, oh, look at the story so far is over here. Like,
yeah.
then I go back to that. It's just
I
like,
gotta go back to listen to Clairvoyant on repeat.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, I love it.
I love like I do like a lot of like we'll road trip a lot to like Pittsburgh and stuff to go back to visit family. And my boyfriend is like very much so into like Of Mice and Men and stuff like that. So I've been listening to a lot more of that. He listens to like Suicide Silence and like crazy.
There it is.
There we go.
So I mean, I will on occasion find myself listening to them and stuff like that. But yeah, I usually just stick to like My Neck Deep, My Story So Far, Real Friends, Mayday Parade is and always. And then Paramore, I found myself listening to like a lot of Paramore, like the All We Know Is Falling album.
Oh my God,
so good.
That so much.
Now, is your boyfriend a big Knocked Loose fan?
Honestly, I don't know, and I've never really asked him, but he grew up in that scene. So like he was in a band where they would like tour around with a lot of those, like when they would play bands and stuff. Yeah, they were like pop punk to the core. Like their band was called A Faster Ride, so they named it after like a faster ride by Cartel.
I was just gonna ask that. The
that's
Cartel
so sick.
That's so cool.
They didn't have a band name, and like they were playing a show, and they were like, "So what are you guys called?" And they're like, "A Faster Ride."
That's such a throwback. Oh my God, yeah. Cartel. Like,
yeah. But they would play a lot of shows with like bands like that. But he listens to a lot, and bands that I've never even heard of, that like With the Punches, he had like introduced me to them.
Oh, dope.
He listens to a lot of like, you know, that kind
the
of
hard stuff.
Yeah, the hard stuff. But I mean, I would say the hardest thing that I probably get into is like Issues and Pierce the Veil and
oh yeah,
Sleeping with Sirens.
I don't really listen to a lot of Bring Me the Horizon, but I used to back before they were like, now they're like weird, astronomically popular now.
Yeah.
Well,
didn't Ollie like fuck his voice up or something from screaming too much? I thought I had read that like his voice got like fucked up from him screaming, that's why they had to switch like the sound to like accommodate his voice.
I mean, I know that like that same thing kind of happened to A Day to Remember, where Jeremy, I think like he was screaming and singing, and then like his voice just got so shot, and then the last time I saw them, they had somebody else screaming, and it was like amazing.
Yeah.
Like his voice was incredible. So, I mean, I could only assume that probably would be what happened, but
I don't know. That's what I had heard.
Well, I wish I could scream. There's like, I try sometimes in the car, and I'm like, I sound so dumb.
That would be so funny if you like covered a Sleeping with, like if you covered like James Dean, Aubrey Hepburn, and you just started screaming. Like with the acoustic.
I'll do the acoustic version, okay?
Keep your voice.
The acoustic version. But there is a girl on TikTok that I did come across, and she has, oh God, I can't remember her name, and I feel so bad. But she has like big gauges in her ears, and she screams, and she is like incredible. And so I remember I was like watching her videos one day, and I was in the car, and I was like, I'm just gonna try. Thankfully, I was in the comfort of my car by myself, so no one else could hear me. But it was bad. I was like, maybe one day I'll like learn how to do it, and one song I'll scream in. But
that would be dope.
That'd be so cool.
But
there's a girl, Lauren, I think it's Babick, Babic. I don't know how to say her last name, but she covered King for a Day. And it
Really? Oh,
was
is she the one? Does she have like dark hair?
yes.
Like
And
dark hair.
there was like some guy that was doing like the like deep screaming, and she was doing like the Kellen Quinn stuff.
Lauren, is it Babic?
Yeah, Babic.
She's the one who I was talking about.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Well, look at
Yeah,
that.
she has like the gauges. She
Yeah,
has the gauges, and she's like really fucking good at screaming. Her voice
yeah.
is incredible too.
Yeah, she's
Like,
she's very talented.
I'm like, go off, but also, do you want to do a song with me? That would be cool.
Yo, do it up.
That would be dope. Hell yeah.
I was like, then you can scream for me, and it would be great.
Yes.
But yeah, she's incredible.
That's dope.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Steven?
No, that was everything I needed to ask.
Hopefully I like made sense and I covered everything that I needed to.
You made
no, yeah, you were off.
This was an amazing interview.
Yeah.
Back
and I'm gonna be like,
no,
why did you guys let me go off on the tangent?
No way. No, we loved it. That's awesome. Like,
well, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been so fun.
Hell yeah!
I don't
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I don't get to talk like pop punk all that much, so it is so fun when I get to chat about bands and things like that.
We'll come back on sometime when you got this time.
Anytime, you guys. I mean, I could also have you guys been watching the Johnny Depp stuff?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I was like, wow, I could go on a tangent about that. That's been like my life lately. I've been watching that nonstop. But
I feel so bad for him, like watching that stuff. And like when they played the tape of when she was like, go ahead, tell everyone, tell the world, Johnny, tell the world that you're whatever. And he was like, I am a victim. I was like, oh my God. Like that was just, I felt so bad.
And it's so crazy, like just watching it all unfold and like hearing the like the audio messages and stuff like that has been the craziest. There's I've been watching this thing on YouTube. It's called Popcorn Planet, and they've been like basically breaking down everything that's gone on, and the audio messages are so crazy, and a lot of them they can't even use in court because they can only use the ones that they're talking in.
Yeah.
So if it's somebody else in it, like the doctor was basically saying like she was the reason why his finger got cut off and all of this crazy stuff, like they'll never, like the jury will never hear that unless they like off like afterwards on YouTube, like listening to it, and I think that's so crazy, but it's wild.
Jesus,
it is.
But
well, Taylor, two last things before you go. I always ask our guests, what's some advice that you can give our listeners if they're struggling, mentally with anything, whether it's, divorce, depression, anxiety? What are some things that you do that help you cope with, what you go through that maybe others can, use as a tool if they don't know already?
I will say that I do go to talk to somebody. But I know that like therapy and stuff can be a little bit expensive. And so finding like that core person that isn't going to be biased, is just going to be there and listen and kind of help you through that. Somebody who you can talk to, whether it's a friend or if, like someone that you might know has been going through something similar and you just need, to kind of be, helped through that situation. Like finding somebody to talk to is so valuable. I know with personal experience, and I've spent a lot of times like, before I was in a relationship and stuff like that, even still, like there's a lot of things that I don't want to put on my partner just because, like he's a very positive person. And sometimes when I get into like my, headspace that I don't necessarily love to be in, I like to get it out and talk about it. But finding that core person to just feel comfortable enough to just tell them everything and know that like they're going to be there for you no matter what. They're not going to go and like tell this person over there. And that's why I feel like a therapist is very valuable. There'll be a lot of times I'll just like text her, whatever it might be when I'm feeling a certain way, but finding that one person that you can talk to, as well as I listen to a lot of podcasts. Listening to music helps. I love podcasts because it puts a lot of things into perspective. So if you are feeling a certain way, you know, going on, and there are a couple that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I could like list a few and I could like send them over your guys' way if you're ever
definitely.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But, finding podcasts that kind of help you breathe through it and talk through it, and not necessarily talk, but you know, talk yourself through it. Finding things like that, and listening to music always really helps me too. But I really genuinely do feel like finding that one core person that you can just talk to, doesn't matter who, as long as you trust them. And that's really beneficial, because there were a lot of times where I didn't have anybody to talk to, and it was very scary, you know?
Yeah,
and
it is.
So that would be like my one big piece of advice. It's just
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well
good
said.
Advice.
Great advice. Thank you for sharing that. And then lastly, before we let you go, plug your shit. Tell everyone where they can get your stuff and listen and all that stuff.
We can get my stuff at Spotify and on iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all that good stuff. Just stream under Taylor Acorn. My Instagram handle is Taylor Acorn Music. TikTok is Taylor Acorn 1, because unfortunately they still won't let me have my name. I don't know why. Yeah, you can. I'm on Twitter. Pretty active on there, and all the good things. So check me out over there. And then, yeah.
Well, one more real quick. Give us your Mount Rushmore pop punk.
My Mount Rushmore pop punk?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Like, who would be, you know, people like ask like,
like who would like be my favorite pop punk?
Like who, like if you were at like, you know, people are like, oh, give us your Mount Rushmore of like basketball players, and it's like Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and like so and so. Like,
oh, okay. All right. Mayday Parade.
Shocker.
Neck Deep. The Story So Far. Oh my gosh, this is hard. Neck Deep, The Story So Far. The Used. The Used. And then how many people are in Mount Rushmore? Is it 5?
4.
4? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, those 4.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Love it.
No.
Well, thank you again. I don't
even know how many people are in Mount Rushmore.
No, you're good. You got it. You killed it.
You're not the only one.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
hopefully
no problem.
it wasn't like boring or
no. This is great. This is so great. No, you were awesome.
Means the world.
We'll do it again soon.
Anytime you guys want me to come on, I'll help you pick apart some albums.
Let's go. All right, breakdown. You're coming on.
Yeah. Pick an album. A Mayday Parade. We'll break down a Lesson in Romantics with you.
Oh no.
Yes.
It's perfect.
All right, Taylor.
Thank you so much
for having me. It was so nice meeting you. I'll see you in Boston.
Hell yeah,
absolutely. Let's go. Hell yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Here